What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 65 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. YouTube video is our second one on our new channel. Christian and Matt are both on mute, and Christian has walked away. Matt, say hello. There you go.
Hello.
That's what Matt looks like. Christian, do you want to say hello so people can see what you look like? There you go. Okay, cool. I think we are ready to jump right into things. We've done our homework and our research, and Christian has a trivia question. So I think we're ready just to get right into it. Right, guys? Yeah? Okay, you're nodding. Okay, that sounds good. Looks like we have one viewer. I don't know if that's Austin. Three. Austin, if you're there, say what's up. Thanks for sending in a question, and we're going to talk about it in, I think, our third segment here. So make sure to stick around, but thanks for sending that in. All right?
Which one's the third one?
It's the one that comes after the second one.
The second one, yeah.
Oh, okay. Before the fourth?
We don't have a fourth.
There is no
so,
fourth. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice.
But if there was a fourth, it would come before that.
All right.
You want to start, Dave?
Yeah, I would love to start. Yeah. All right. Are we ready? All right. There we are. Hey, what's up, Austin? Nice to see you here. Thank you for sending that in, by the way. All right. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 65 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel, and I am here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Dave. I just got back from a weekend at the shore, the Jersey Shore. For those of you that don't know what that is the beach on the coast of New Jersey. I was there, even though it's winter, because there was an event called the Polar Bear Plunge this weekend, where you jump in the water, raise money for some charities. And it's just a big party other than that aspect of it. And it was really fun.
Did you jump in the water?
I did not, because my ankle is still not healed, and I did not want to run and ruin that.
Yeah, that's why. Otherwise, you definitely would have been in, right?
I did it last year. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, and it was 75 degrees when you did it last year, right? It was unseasonably warm.
I still would have done it this year.
Yep. Okay. Matt, how are you doing?
Doing great, Dave. Thanks for asking. Man City's on right now, so I'm missing that, but it's against Wigan. I'll be all right.
Yeah, except they got a red card, so I don't know about that.
Fabian Delph got a red card. They didn't get a red card. It was Delph.
They got a red card then.
And Wigan, Wigan's kind of their bogey team, right? We saw them.
We watched it.
We saw it. Yeah, that was live.
Yeah, so
that was live.
Yeah. Okay. Well, guys, I'm doing
Premier League, though.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm doing well, guys. Thank you very much for asking. I appreciate that. We were up in wine country, being very Californian this weekend, and just had a swell time. Enjoyed the weather, drank a little bit of wine, rode some bikes around, and just we're loving life. So it was a good weekend. All right, Christian, do you have our trivia question for this week?
I do have the trivia question this week. So, Cristiano Ronaldo, as everyone knows, has the most goals in the Champions League era in Europe. Do you guys know how many of the teams that have played in the Champions League he has scored more goals than? Sorry, that was a weird way to phrase that question. I'm going to do that again. Okay. So, how many more? He has scored? Hold on. I'm going to think of a way to phrase this, because I guess I should have probably prepared that.
Yeah. Are you still a little hungover?
A little bit. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I spoke percentage up. Of team? Or total teams that have ever been in the Champions League?
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me just pull up
I understand
what, because I know I'm going to pull it up because it's going to be easier to just read.
All right. I think I understand what you're trying to say. Basically, the team as a whole. So Ronaldo scored, 102 goals, however many he scored, and
he scored 117 goals.
117. How many teams have scored less than that? Right? Oh my God. This is going off the rails.
Hold on. Here it is. Okay, so there are 137 teams that have played in the Champions League. How many of them has Ronaldo scored more goals than?
Okay, awesome. Okay. That is a great way to ask that question. So thank you for that. Before we get into our topics, have a couple quick plugs I wanted to give. So exciting news. We partnered with StadiumScene.com. They are a website that's basically a travel guide for sports fans. So they have reviews and recommendations for bars, restaurants, and different things to do around sports stadiums. Go to stadiumscene.com. You can check that out. Additionally, at stadiumscene.tv, they partner with content creators like us. So there are, I think, 10 to 15 other creators discussing all different kinds of sports. So go check that out, stadiumscene.com for the travel guide, stadiumscene.com for all the different content. You'll see our stuff up there as well as a bunch of others. Also wanted to give a couple quick plugs. Fan Futsal is finally back up and running. It's a simplified fantasy soccer website. I am the founder. Go to fanfutsal.com, check that out. We make it super easy for all soccer fans to play. Also wanted to give a quick plug for the Soccer Tavern. So we are releasing YouTube videos about Premier League clubs right now. So we're releasing 2 videos per week. Earlier today, Brighton and Hove Albion club history video came out. And, later this week, Burnley is going to be out. So I know, hotly anticipated week this week. A lot of Burnley and Brighton fans, are beating down the doors to get that. Lastly, we record this thing live on YouTube. So if you're not watching, hey, come check us out where you can interact with us live in person and all that. So with that, let's get into our topics for the week. Christian sent an article about Jurgen Klopp. So goal.com did a profile story on him and just basically gave kind of behind the scenes look at his management style and some of the ways kind of he approaches management. So Christian, I know you sent this article, what are your thoughts on, Jurgen Klopp? I know we're fans of him given that he's Liverpool manager, but his managerial style and all that. What do you think about him?
I love the way that he just kind of runs a team. He goes into every aspect of people's lives and really wants to know people, not just on a player level, but on a human level. And you really see the impact that has on his teams. As we saw, we didn't really follow him at Mainz, but just from what I've heard, he got them promoted after they looked like they were on the brink of falling out of the second division in the Bundesliga. And then he went to Dortmund and rose them up to a level that no one really expected to see, even though they were competing in the Champions League early in the 2000s. They kind of died off and no one really considered them a challenger. They then won 2 back-to-back Bundesligas over there, and now he's at Liverpool and creating something really special between the fans, the ownership group, him, and his players. You just see everyone kind of come together, and he just creates this passion and fire in his teams, and you really can see his emotion on the field. And I know a lot of people have given him some criticism for the way he handles his emotions at times, whether it's the looks that he gives referees or cursing in the media, as he did with NBC. But he embodies the passion of every one of his clubs, and it's really a joy to watch what he can do.
Matt, your thoughts on Klopp and his managerial style?
Yeah, I think it's awesome that I think players love playing for him. The article said, one of the first weeks at Dortmund, he gave one of the players off for his mother's birthday. I think that was just awesome. I think that says a lot about him and how he's more of a people person first. He wants more chemistry rather than maybe tactics is not the most important thing. I think Pep wants to be more controlling. And I think Klopp is the whole other way. He just wants you to perform, but want to perform. I've always been a fan of Klopp. I'd like how the article talked about how, the things that happened at Dortmund where he ended up getting fired wasn't necessarily his fault. The team played well, they just didn't finish goals, and they just had goals scored on them that were kind of inexplainable. I think the article did a good job explaining that, and I think Klopp's a great coach.
Yeah, and so we'll tweet it out. Anyone watching live on YouTube, it's in the link into the episode right here, and listening on the podcast, it's in the podcast show notes, so you can check out the article we're talking about. For me, I think Klopp is just so genuine, and nowadays, it's tough to find people that are just wholly genuine, and he wears his emotion on his sleeve, and the way he interacts with people, the way he interacts with his players, and all of that, I think it resonates with me because I would like to think that if I were to become a manager or just in leadership positions, I would want to be genuine. Even when I have a development team that I work with, and I try to understand, what's going on, behind the scenes sometimes, if they have to be somewhere or if they're taking off a day, I try not to just say, hey, this needs to get done. No, there's a human element to everything. And that includes soccer, which I think sometimes can get lost. So I like that Klopp kind of approaches things this way. So I think it resonates with me. So it's pretty cool. Christian, anything else to add?
2001, it's in the article, he says that there's a quote that he says, "I never act," which seems to be real. He never is putting on a show. Even though a lot of people think that he is really being a genuine person, and that's just who he is. As opposed to some other managers who I won't go into say who they are. We know they can be a little bit fake and just start start shit between other managers out there, and it causes a lot of tension. That's not his goal. His goal is to get the best out of his team, not to downplay or criticize anyone else.
Yeah. Matt, anything else to add on Klopp?
Well, I just want to say, Christian said like he's building something special at Liverpool. I mean, he did just lose his best player. So,
Yeah,
do you see how they've played since then?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I think he can still be building a special thing at Liverpool, but not.
Yeah, I think he's doing great, but I don't think he's doing anything, especially for a club like Liverpool, who's had so much success. Like I think he's like a good manager, but it's not like he's like changing the club around.
I think he is. So, I mean, the club hasn't been. I think as of next year, I think City and Liverpool are the favorites for the title next year. That may be clouding judgment or whatever, but I really like what I'm seeing from Van Dijk as far as organizing the back line, and I really like what Keita is going to bring at defensive midfielder. And I think that he is building something. So I'm just going to disagree with you there, Matt. But since we've talked about Liverpool, now let's talk about Matt's favorite team, Man City. So Pep recently came out and said Kevin De Bruyne is in the contention to win the Ballon d'Or this upcoming year. Matt, from your perspective, what would it take for him to actually win the Ballon d'Or?
For him to actually win. Okay, so I think he should be considered, like what Pep was saying. He's up there among the best players that could potentially win it, but Pep said you do need to win trophies, so I think he needs at least a Champions League. We need to go at least the Champions League final for the semifinals, and I think the World Cup. I think Belgium's going to have to put probably another semifinals performance in it, and De Bruyne's going to have a couple goals and assists in the tournament. He's already playing very well almost every game in the league and Champions League. So like his numbers are fine there. I just think City needs to perform as a team just to keep him going. But the World Cup, I think that's more important for the Ballon d'Or for the upcoming year.
So in your mind, if they win the Premier League, which is already kind of done and dusted, and make semifinals Champions League and semifinals of World Cup, you think that could potentially be enough?
Yeah, I think that will. It depends who wins. Like if Argentina wins the World Cup and Barcelona wins the Champions League, Messi's getting it. Okay,
fair enough. Christian, your thoughts? What would it take for De Bruyne to win the Ballon d'Or?
What it would take for him to win the Ballon d'Or this year? This year or just in the future at all?
No, this year.
That's tough. I don't know if he can, to be completely honest. I think he has to go to Spain if he wants to win the Ballon d'Or. That's what it looks like at this point in anyone's. Like, I know Messi and Ronaldo are on the next level, but those two teams seem to just dominate where the best players are. Yes, Neymar went to PSG, and that's going to shake things up a little bit. But still, I don't even think he's going to get it. It's shocking that this is kind of environment that we're in right now. But being at Barca and Madrid makes such a huge impact on the Ballon d'Or votes, and that's just what it is. I'm shocked by it every year because there are such great players at Bayern Munich. There's great players at Juventus. There's great players in the Premier League at PSG now. But it seems like the players at Barcelona and Madrid get all of the attention. They are the highest level. They are the two teams that everyone wants to be at. And I know it's because Messi and Ronaldo were there, but even Suarez and Neymar, they're the ones getting all the credit, even though there might be better players at the other teams, such as Robin and Ribery, not now, but in the past they were up there. Those types of real quality players. I don't know if De Bruyne can get it unless he does win the Champions League. Absolutely has to win that. That is hands down has to happen. I think that Belgium, I agree, semifinals would probably be successful for him. Anything less than that, again, would immediately rule him out. And I think City can't get complacent with the Premier League. They have to keep performing every single week. Yeah, they are going to win it. Everyone knows that at this point. But they can't just coast now, which a lot of teams, they start to do. He has to be performing at a high level in every single game. And he does. But if his team around him aren't finishing the chances he creates, or if he starts to just lower his energy levels because he wants to be rested for the Champions League or he sits on the bench, that's going to hurt his chances.
Yeah, I think he has to win Champions League. Like, to have a realistic chance, he has to win Champions League. And I think that Messi or Portugal. So Argentina or Portugal can't win the World Cup. If those two things happen, if Belgium makes, I mean, it's all going to be contingent on how far Ronaldo and Messi, I think, go in the World Cup. If De Bruyne wins the Champions League, so if Man City wins the Champions League, I could see him making a case that if the other teams fall out and Belgium only makes the quarterfinals, but City wins the league, potentially wins the quadruple, and he makes the quarterfinals and keeps performing, I could see him winning it. But I think he has to win the Champions League. I don't see any way. Or the World Cup. Like if Belgium wins the World Cup like out of nowhere and anyone other than Barcelona or Real Madrid wins the Champions League, I think you could probably make a case then too. But I think he has to win one of those two tournaments. I don't see a way that he wins without winning one of those two tournaments. But Matt, anything else to add?
Yeah, I would probably agree. He needs to win one of those two, and Messi or Ronaldo can't win the other.
Yeah.
I think that would put him in like great position. And like I don't think City or like De Bruyne's going to get complacent. Like he just put up 3 assists in his last game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm saying later on in the season. I'm not saying right now that they are. I'm saying that it can't happen later down the road.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, I get it, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, people have been saying that for 2 months now, and they just keep doing the same thing.
So what if I'm going to pose this question to Matt first? If Real or Barca were to win the Champions League, even PSG with Neymar, do you think that De Bruyne even winning the World Cup is enough? Because the Champions League is weighted so heavily now.
Yeah, but World Cup year, I think it'll give them.
I mean, last time it didn't matter. Last two, it didn't matter.
Yeah, but who would have gotten it legitimately on Germany?
Iniesta should have won it in 2010, or Schneider, actually.
Yeah, but at that time, Messi was on another level. Both Messi and Ronaldo were at the peak of their powers.
Yeah. Yeah, like right now, I feel like neither of them are. I mean, they're not. I'm not going to say they're still the top 2 players, I think. But
I don't know. Honestly, about Ronaldo, I think Ronaldo's falling off from my perspective.
I don't think Ronaldo's a top 2 anymore. I think he's top 5 still, but yeah.
Continue your thought.
Okay, yeah, I could get to that, but I think now like they're weak, like to mortals. They're open to mortals taking over their trophies. So I think it's gonna be. I think De Bruyne has the best chance. I think he has a better chance than Neymar. Other than those two.
Okay.
It's all I think it's gonna come down to the World Cup. But okay, let's keep this thing moving along. Last thing in the first segment we wanted to talk about, Paul Pogba's come under a lot of criticism over the past few weeks. I mean, a lot of it's been brought on by Jose Mourinho's treatment of him. But Roy Keane, former Manchester United legendary center midfielder, came out and said that Pogba, for the money that he is worth, needs to be able to play multiple positions in a midfield and all of that. Christian, what's your take on this whole Pogba sort of issue at Manchester United, where he doesn't seem to fit into the system they're trying to play? Should he be able to play multiple positions? What are your thoughts?
Pogba, I'm sorry, you have to grow up. It's time for you to grow into your own, mature as a player, and be what your team needs you to be. Right now, he's just complaining far too much that he's not in the position he wants to be in. Yes, I understand. You can say that, but you still have to perform at your top level. You are playing your position. It's just a different formation with different tactics. He wants to be in more of a 10 or somewhat of an 8 role with a defensive midfielder behind him. Yes, they're not playing that, but with the amount of money that you're worth and the talent that we can always see that he has, yes, he slipped down a little bit, but he obviously has incredible amount of talent. He's got to perform at a high level and stop complaining. He has to continue to be what his team needs him to be in the midfield and be an enforcer, be a creator, and just keep creating, keep scoring goals, keep doing what you need to do in midfield, keep possession, keep it moving. And he's got to stop with this, because even his own legends of his own team, now Roy Keane, is complaining about his attitude. Mourinho clearly is getting frustrated with him, and he's got to change that, because Mourinho doesn't stand for that for long, and we know that from past experience.
Okay, so you're putting this on Pogba. Matt, your thoughts on the whole Pogba situation?
So I think if United was winning right now, we wouldn't be having this discussion. I think it's not necessarily on. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying it's like not necessarily on him. Like there's so many weak positions on United right now. Like the article is saying like how their back four right now is, it's just not a United back four. They should not be, the four representation of the back line of Manchester United. So I think that's where most of United's issues are going. I think Pogba doesn't take it on himself to win games. I think that's like where I would criticize him. I think he like walks into a game like just expecting to be the best. Like I think he's so good. I think he just has fun out there. And he's not trying to be as competitive as he can be. Like that's what I see from Pogba. And it's not something you can like really measure, but I think he's just kind of trying to be as skillful and do like the coolest things possible instead of necessarily just trying to like take the game by the scruff of the neck and win.
But he's a center midfielder. You don't expect him to be the one making them win. You expect him to be the one in control and keeping things calm and kind of keeping the flow of the game moving, not the one who's going to take over and be the one to win them a game.
Yeah, but I don't think he's that type of player. I think he's more of an attacking midfielder with how he's saying like he should play multiple positions. I don't see Pogba being the best player as like a holding mid on United. I think he's best going forward because he's so creative, and I think he should focus in on that.
Yeah, I think it comes back to me. I don't fault Pogba as much as I fault Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho is somebody who sticks rigidly to his tactics and doesn't always find the best way to utilize his players. He more finds players that fit into the way he wants to play. And I think when you have a player as talented as Pogba and the investment that they put into him, I think you're doing a disservice to Pogba and honestly your own team for not finding a way to maximize his value. I don't think they should be shoehorning Pogba into the way that they want to play. I think that they should be figuring out a way to maximize the team's value and all of that by maximizing Pogba. Now, Jose's counter to that is maximizing the team value is Pogba needs to play in this certain way. I just view it differently. So that's kind of where I stand on this. I don't fault Pogba as much as I don't like players have things that they're better suited to do. Just because a player looks a certain way, like we all want Jose Altidore to be a center forward who holds the ball up, plays with his back to goal. He's just not that type of player. And you can't force him to play that way if that's not in his game. That's not how he can actually play. Just because he looks a certain way. I mean, Pogba's the same thing. He looks like a Patrick Vieira guy that should be dominating and should be, 8-8 or box to box number 8, but that's not actually how he plays. So that's kind of my thoughts there. Christian, anything else to add?
I just don't know if I agree with that. I think that he should, and when he looks at his best is when he's playing the ball quickly. And when his team's down or he feels like he has all the responsibility on him, he tries to do too much, dribble, shoot from all over the place. And that's when his team starts to struggle. He just needs to get back in his head, realize he's a center mid. That's the position you're playing right now. Tactically, you just have to know that and learn when to get rid of the ball quickly. Because honestly, when he does, he's so difficult to stop because he has that power, he has that speed, and he does have the ability to finish and create that final pass. But when he tries to take everybody on by himself, his team really does struggle from that.
Fair enough. Shout out Austin, who's watching us live. He's a United fan. He says Jose should switch tactics. It's not working right now, so why not change? So it seems like he's maybe agreeing a little bit more with me. But yeah. So Matt, anything else you wanted to add here?
Can you wipe that stupid smile off your face? That would be great. Thanks.
Matt, anything else you want to
add? I think Pogba, I don't think he can, or I think he can do anything De Bruyne can do with the soccer ball. I think he is just as talented on the ball. I know he's in a different role, but I think he should get that free role. I know there's different managers, different tactics, but I think Pogba can be as good as any midfielder in the world.
So switching gears a little bit, but I think De Bruyne, the most impressive thing for me about De Bruyne is the weight of his passes with both feet. He very rarely ever overhits or underhits a pass. It's always at the exact spot and the exact speed that it needs to be. And that's where De Bruyne is otherworldly from my perspective. I don't know if Pogba actually does have that. I agree that he can do everything on the ball that De Bruyne can, but passing the ball, I don't know if he can do it. So that's where I stand on that. Anything else real quick to add? No?
No.
All right. That is the end of our first segment here. You're going to hear a little bit of music and we will be back with our second segment. Talk to you soon. All right, cool.
That was long, right?
That was a little bit longer, yes, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was a little bit longer. But I mean, we had the whole trivia question issue in the beginning that we'll be able to cut that down a little bit.
Oh yeah,
yeah. All right.
You donated plasma today.
You donated plasma.
That's cool.
Did you make some money?
Yeah, I made some money.
Nice. How much was your blood worth?
The first time each week is $20, and then the second time each week is $50. So it's $70 a week. You do twice.
So is this the first or second time?
First time. Yeah.
All right. We ready to keep this thing rolling?
What about the internet? Give us some of that money.
Yeah. I was thinking about the other one, the South Park where it was Butters, when he's the pimp.
Oh,
I said, bitch, you should be making some real motherfucking money.
Oh, that's good. All right. Hun, I love you. Good luck on your run. Have fun. And we
be safe out there.
Keep going. Yeah, she can't hear you. Every time you yell.
But I just want her to know. I want her to be safe.
All right. Christian says be safe. Welcome back, everyone, to our second segment. Switching gears here and jumping over to American soccer, FC Dallas and FC Bayern recently announced a talent development deal where players and coaches will be kind of shared and trained between the squads. Matt, what are your thoughts on hearing about this deal? Do you think it's going to be anything real, or is this just kind of, I don't know, just on paper, something to do?
Yeah, so like the article that you sent that I read, it was like, it seemed like they were just like so openly interchangeable to just send your players wherever you wanted. And that's like what confused me. It's like, yeah, players can now play for either team and be like sent back and forth. Where like, I hope like Bayern doesn't take advantage of FC Dallas of just like sending their youth, like maybe like the players that maybe won't get in the first team, but might just keep sending them to FC Dallas. I feel like that's where they're going to benefit. But I mean, FC Dallas, I guess, could benefit from these players like pushing their own players. Like it's just going to be more talent pool. But I just hope Bayern doesn't take advantage of it and just mainly just like take over FC Dallas. And like I don't know how many great youth players FC Dallas has produced, like if any. But like
I mean, Weston McKennie.
Oh, he's an FC Dallas guy.
Yeah, he was their academy and Schalke poached him.
Yeah, so like I don't know how much more benefit like Bayern will get from FC Dallas youth players like who could potentially play for Bayern.
Okay, fair enough. So I think it's a legit concern that you're highlighting there. Christian, your thoughts here?
I don't know if I'm so much concerned with that because with the amount of training that they're going to be getting and the amount of athletes that they'll be able to pull in America, I think they're going to find some talent that they can use over in Germany. I think that's going to happen. But my concern with this is a little bit more towards what Matt was saying about them sending too many players over here that they kind of deem not good enough and kind of look down on us. It is a partnership, so we hope that that's not the case, that's not what they're planning on doing. Hopefully they're going to be sending either some older players that might just – or is this only youth academies? Sorry.
I think it's everybody, but I think it's going to skew more towards youth players.
Yeah, I would hope that they send most of their younger players who just aren't ready yet, who want to build up a resume of professional experience, which would be huge for our league. And I hope all the other big teams in Europe catch on to that and partner with the U.S. team if this works out. That would be really, really cool to see. But I think that Dallas has produced some of the best talent, but I don't know if that's just luck of the draw or if they're really the most talented youth academy. You don't know. And I had another point that I can't remember right now. Sorry.
Okay. So for me, I mean, if the players coming over from Bayern are good enough to play in MLS and make an impact, I mean, I think that there's not an issue with that. Christian, you remembered your thought?
Yes, I did. I was going to say when Bayern had Julian Green, that would have been a perfect time for him to kind of come over here. So if they had partnered in time, that would have been more of a unique situation where an American was at Bayern Munich already and he could get time playing in America, build up a resume, and maybe he would have produced a little bit more. Maybe, and not had as much of a pressure
Yeah, but maybe, but I mean, he's just not developing, and maybe he just wasn't that great of a player.
That could be too, but you never know. We won't know.
Yeah, you never know. For me, I'm not overly concerned because there have been deals like this in the past, and from an MLS perspective, they've just never really worked out. The Union had a couple. They had one with a Costa Rican club. They had one, I think, with a Greek club, and like nothing ever came to it. And so, for me, I'm skeptical of this ever really materializing into something real. So I'll believe it when I see it, if there's actually players being exchanged or any of that. But I mean, it can't hurt, if
how's it been working for New York City? It seemed to be doing decently well, and that's a different situation.
That's a different situation. That's the same
situation.
Ownership. Yeah, it's a different situation.
Situation.
God damn it! You know what? I recorded a video right before this. I recorded my Chelsea video, so I'm talked out a little bit. It's a different situation where that's the same ownership group. There's different incentives when you actually own the players and you're just moving them around your organization, rather than these are two separate independent organizations that are trying to work together.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Matt, anything else you want to add? Matt, anything else you want to add?
All right, sorry, you just lagged. I assume you asked me if I wanted to say anything I wanted to add.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no. You're good. I didn't hear anything you just said for the last 20 seconds.
Okay, all right. Let's stick in MLS, but switch over to the digital side of things. MLS Live, which is how I have been watching Union matches out here on the West Coast. It was their digital offering where you could pay an annual fee. I think it was like $80 and get all the matches offered from MLS. That is going away. And what's happening is MLS Live is moving into ESPN's new streaming service that's going to come out sometime in the future. It's going to be, I think, $5 a month. And it's going to have a bunch of sports, including MLS kind of being wrapped up in there. So, Christian, what do you think about MLS moving from its own standalone products into something, from ESPN kind of partnered with other sports and content? What are your thoughts?
I think this is going to be good. I think this is going to very much improve the way this whole streaming situation has happened. I've not been a big fan of MLS Live. I don't know. I haven't really used it much. I used it a couple of times, specifically when I was out visiting you. We watched the Union game, but I really haven't streamed many games on it. I think partnering it with ESPN, where you get more access to different sports at a lower cost, is going to be huge for MLS. I think, $5 a month, so $60 a year versus $80 a year that it is for the MLS pass. That's already $20 you're saving annually, which, isn't much in the long run, but that immediately will bring more people in. The lower the cost, the more you're going to get. That's just how it is, and you're getting more.
Economics.
Yeah, it's just facts. Yeah. I speak straight facts. I think that with the addition of ESPN being the streaming service, people will trust it a little bit more as well, because people are more comfortable with that, and you're getting other sport value. You're getting far more value on an interface that has been proven to be more friendly to a lot of people.
Matt, your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think it's incredible. Like Christian said, ESPN, that's probably the main network America from all sports. That's pretty much what everyone goes to. So I think, and I'm not saying for soccer it's the best, but I'm just saying for all sports, you mainly get your news from ESPN. And having a streaming service like that, where nobody would stream, no casual soccer fan, or not even a barely soccer fan would be paying $80 to get the MLS to watch those games. I'm pretty sure if you're just bored going through streaming and there's no, if you're not that good of a soccer fan or don't follow the game that closely, and it's a night where there's no other good sports on, no good sports games, you're gonna maybe click on the MLS, and I think that's gonna grow just popularity in the United States. So I think ESPN's the perfect place to go to. It's cheaper. I think it makes sense from all fronts.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have anything else to add. I mean, you guys cover. I think this is a home run. I mean, it's cheaper, and you're exposing more, broader fan base. I think it's a win-win in every situation. Christian, something else to add?
I think that's a really, really good point. I just want to say, by Matt, to say that people are going to go on the app and look for something to watch, and if there's nothing else on there, they will click on soccer just because it's something to throw on, and that will be a huge positive. And as long as the games are entertaining and there's just a high level of play, which it keeps building every year and it's getting better and better, that is a great point to bring up, that more people will be just tuning in to the games because it's on ESPN.
Absolutely. Yep. Guys, Matt, anything else you want to add?
Nah.
Cool. That is the end of our second segment. You're going to hear a little bit more music, and we're going to talk to you in our third segment. Talk to you soon. Austin, if you're still there, which I think you are, I think we're gonna talk about the United Huddersfield VAR thing. So, do you want to just chime in your thoughts either beforehand or as we're going? List them, and I can read them out and voice them. That works too. So, however you want to approach it.
I have not seen that yet. Hold up.
Yeah, wait. Did you send that to me?
It was the second email. I forgot to even look at it.
Huh? It was Austin's question. Christian, you responded.
I just saw the last name and it was amazing, and I was drunk at the time, so I was like, "Oh, beer, let's go!" So I got excited.
Yeah, Austin, Christian was a fan of your last name. The question was, not sure if you've seen the topics, but while watching this United Huddersfield FA Cup.
Did you send the video?
No, but it was all over social media, so I figured you guys had seen it.
I have not seen it.
Okay, so just go find it right now. Okay,
I am.
Most people are.
I did read this already. I just didn't see the video.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I did see this.
Okay. So his first question is, should VAR have been used in this instance based on the position of the linesman and the fact he did not raise his flag? Was the decision made correct? And should the rules or procedures for VAR be changed before it gets implemented across all leagues and possibly in the World Cup? If so, what would be changed? Okay. That's the question.
Those are from the email?
Yes, those are from the email.
Okay.
I'll set it up. I'll set the question up too.
Okay.
And
are you just going to ask each one individually, or are you going to ask all three at once?
I can ask them individually if that's easier.
Sure.
Okay. And a potential second VAR. Are you watching?
I am. I'll turn it off. I'll turn the sound
off.
But
you don't have. Yeah, just turn the sound off. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Austin's got some points. I would like to make time limit for VAR, a potential second VAR working simultaneously with the current one, and a potential second VAR working simultaneously with the current one. Austin, what is that? Can you clarify that? A second VAR working simultaneously with the current one. Do you guys know what that might mean?
I think he means a second referee, probably.
Oh, a second referee.
Reviewing. That's my guess.
Okay, like in the Bundesliga where they have the VAR kind of control center.
Oh, you don't know if you're asking me or him.
I'm asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like in football, they have like the review center, right?
Yeah, and that's the way the Bundesliga has it. They have like a hub, but the MLS I think has individual VAR people at. Okay, yeah, so he confirmed that. MLS has individual VAR referees I think at the matches, and that referee at the match would then call out to the referee to review. Okay. So adopting more the Bundesliga model is his thought. All right, I'll set up the question and then I will ask these individual questions. I'm going to take out the Albion player stealing a taxi. I can just mention that.
That's fine.
I feel like this is going to be a pretty decent topic and we don't really need to talk about that. All right, and then transfer market reforms after that. Okay.
Wait, so what actually was the VAR situation? I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
You got it.
No, man, I would love for you to partake in this. You seem motivated, so let's go.
So they United scored, right? And then they went to VAR. And then like after like a while, like VAR was like he's offsides, but like it was so close, that call. Like I can't believe like that was so close.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about it right up here.
Yeah.
All right, Christian, you good? I'll go to Matt first and get his thoughts, if that's helpful. Christian?
Okay,
you are there.
Mm-hmm.
He's just in his thoughts.
Didn't it say it was in the first half? Because I'm in the 42nd minute and there's still nothing to have it.
Yeah, I believe it was in the first half.
Are you watching the whole game?
It's doing its extended highlights. It's 5 minutes.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to our third and final segment. Kicking things off here, we had a question from listener Austin. So, Austin, thank you very much for sending in this question. But it was revolving around the Manchester United Huddersfield match, and specifically the VAR use in that match. So, for those that don't know, we'll tweet out the link to the article, and it'll be in the podcast show notes. But there was an instance where Juan Mata was fractionally offsides and ended up scoring a goal. He was onside, and they allowed the goal, and VAR, was challenged, or I don't know the right way to say it, but they called VAR. The referee reviewed it, and they ultimately determined him to be offsides. It was fractionally offsides or onside. It was incredibly, incredibly close. And my favorite photo is the one where there's a Twitter photo, or there's a photo and there are parallel lines drawn across the pitch, and they're just not even close to being straight. And so that was absolutely hilarious to see. So the first question from Austin is that, should VAR have even been used in this instance based on the position of the linesman and the fact that he didn't raise his flag? So Matt, what are your thoughts there? Should VAR have even been used in this instance?
I think it was okay to be looked at, because it was such a tight call and it was a goal scoring play. So I think it was okay to necessarily go there and check the VAR. But once you see it, it was so close. I don't think the VAR was really helping. It was dead on the line. And what we learned in ref school, it's whatever the ref calls it. That's what a foul is. It's whatever the ref calls it. So regardless, either way it was going, it was probably going to be a close call. Somebody would probably think you're wrong. So I think it's just too close to overturn what was originally called.
So you are okay with using VAR, but you don't agree with the call being overturned.
Yeah, exactly. Like in American sports, clear and conclusive evidence to overturn a call. That wasn't clear.
Fair enough. Christian, your thoughts here? Should VAR have been used?
I think VAR should always be used. If it is in these certain situations, offsides, penalties, something like that, a referee is viewing it anyway, not the center match official. The actual VAR referee, that guy, should be reviewing it. Yeah, I know. Should be reviewing all of those tight decisions that are under consideration to be reviewed. And it should be quick, unless there is something very, very tight, which this one was. So it did take a little bit longer, and specifically with goals related to offsides. Obviously, because that's when they review them. But that should be reviewed. And I see that, I'm watching it now, that it was so close, it's ridiculous. But if the referees are reviewing it and it's offsides, it's offsides. That's the way the game works. I understand that the call may have been wrong, but if it's that tight, we've always been taught, let the game play. If it's that close, you let it go. You always favor the attacker in those situations, which is what the referee did, and he was right to keep his flag down if it's that close. But if they review it and see, okay, he was, in fact, offsides, which it's so close, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's that close. The referees must have seen that he was offsides because they are the ones reviewing it, and they're professionals.
So I disagree. I'm going to disagree with you guys. I don't think VAR should have even been used here. VAR is for clear and obvious errors, right? That's what most of the rules state, that it should be used for clear and obvious errors. This was not a clear and obvious error. We're never going to get 100% correct. And so there's a human element to soccer, and I'm okay with that. And yes, sometimes calls are going to go against you. Sometimes calls are going to go for you. And when there's serious errors, VAR should be used. But in this instance, VAR should not have been used. It was fractionally offsides, and honestly, it shouldn't have been reversed, and it shouldn't have even been used. So that's where I come down on that. The follow-up question from Austin is, should the rules or procedures for VAR be changed before it gets implemented across all leagues and in the World Cup? And if so, what should be changed? So Matt, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts there?
Just all the rules in general?
Yeah. So is there anything specific about VAR that you like or don't like? Anything that you think should be changed?
Okay, so like what you were just saying, how it has to be clear to overturn it to even go to VAR in the first place. I guess that should be something I would think should be changed, and it's like something like scoring plays should all be reviewed. And like if it's an obvious goal, then you don't even VAR. You just say keep going, and it's a goal. But like I think a lot of scoring plays should be reviewed. Not necessarily taking a while. Like it shouldn't be. The length should definitely be within a minute or two. Because soccer really you'll start cramping if you're just standing there for a couple minutes and then you have to go back again, especially with like that much running. So I think they should definitely keep the time limit down, and I think scoring plays are something that should like always be looked at, not necessarily reviewed, but like somebody should just like make sure every goal scoring play is okay.
Okay, Christian, your thoughts? Anything that should be changed or formalized?
I 1000% agree with Matt that every goal scoring play should be reviewed. They all should be, just because those are the key moments in games. Absolutely. Penalties, not always, because there are moments where it's pretty obvious. But I think goal scoring plays should always be reviewed for offsides, fouls, and always reviewed.
I disagree with you guys. That literally on almost every corner kick or not every goal, but many goals,
it'll get it out of there.
There are little fouls that could be called and that, could or should be called depending on how you view the rules. And I think there are issues with reviewing every single instance. I think you're going to get into issues there.
But then Maurice Edu's goal would have counted against Slovenia.
It would have.
Yeah, and sometimes things go your way, sometimes they don't. But the reality of the situation
is it will be better if we review every single goal, because especially with corner kicks, it'll stop people from grabbing themselves because there will be so many added penalties and stuff. People will stop grabbing on each other, and people will get more open and get more chances to head the ball in the goal.
Maybe. Yeah, I agree with that. So Austin actually wrote in and had a specific thought about what should be changed. So he agreed with Matt on having a time limit for VAR. And he also said a potential second VAR working simultaneously. So possibly the way the Bundesliga does it with VAR is that they have almost like a center hub where there's a team reviewing all calls across all matches, and they're kind of in charge of when to go to VAR and all of that. From my perspective, I think when you have a centralized hub, it gets to be a little bit, hairy. With soccer, it's about the referee who's in the middle during that day can get a much better feel for the flow of the match and the way he's interpreting the rules, because a lot of soccer, unfortunately, is subjective to the referee's interpretation. And if you centralize things, I think you could have different interpretations of the rules from a center official versus a center official in the game versus somebody who's managing VAR from a centralized location. So I would be kind of concerned about that. I don't know.
My point to go along with that one is, even if there is a centralized location calling that, doesn't the center match official go and review it? So he is the one that gets the final say.
Yes, he does have the final say. In the Bundesliga, the way that it works is he can take the VAR's suggestion and not review it at all, but he still does have final say. So in that case, yeah, I think
actually
that
do like that one the best.
Yeah. No, that's it's a good. I think the Bundesliga has the best one that I've seen so far. What do you guys think about challenge flag for managers to potentially use? That's another question from Austin.
No,
Matt.
I actually am not entirely against that, because then it's limiting. Like that way people aren't constantly doubting the refs. Like you have to be smart about when you doubt the ref.
The only time I would say, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, you already started.
Okay. Well, the only time I would say yes to challenge flags if VAR didn't have any time they were using it unless the challenge flag was thrown. That is my only point.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I am very much against challenge flags. Tim Vickery does a good job of talking about this on the World Football Phone-In. So every Friday, he's brought this up multiple times. It would be used by coaches just as a way to break up flow of play. I just fear that that's what they're gonna use.
Well, they should only use it on.
They're still gonna
or goals. Like I don't.
What do you mean? So if there's any sort of controversial thing late in a match or whatever, and their team's winning or something,
I guess that's true.
Yeah, like I would.
Well,
have
they should make it so that the last 10 or 15 minutes they have to go automatically reviewed if there's anything close. I mean, then it becomes too much like football then, and I just don't want to. Yeah. I don't want that.
I mean, I'm fine just not having VAR at all, or only being used in very clear and obvious issues, like only clear and obvious errors. That it's in the rules. It's just, I think what we're experiencing right now is leagues and officials and everybody doesn't know how to use VAR yet. Everybody's still trying to figure out when they should use it, when they shouldn't, and hopefully as we move forward and they only use it for clear and obvious issues, I can get on board with it at that point.
It should be more centralized, I think, in my opinion. Not technically having like a centralized group of people, but as the whole in the world, if they're going to use it, every rule should be the same in every country, just so that VAR is VAR.
Yeah. So we went a little bit longer. Do we want to talk about transfer market reform, or do we want to start wrapping up things? Christian, what do you think?
We can talk about that next time. That's fine.
Okay. All right. So with that, I think, Matt, anything else you want to add on this topic or any other topics?
Okay. I think so my version of VAR would be no VAR. I think it'd be best without it. But I think goal line technology is something that should definitely be in place. I think that's like the only form of, non-human referees that should be involved in soccer.
I can get on board with that 100%.
Yeah, I can too. Okay. Christian, anything else you wanted to mention?
Nope.
Okay, I wanted to mention two things. I don't know if you guys saw the Ronaldo penalty in the PSG match. He was getting a laser pointed at his face. And he started to complain a little bit, and then he just closed his eyes, composed himself, and then drilled the penalty. For everything that Ronaldo gets as far as like crap on the field and all of that, he really is a player that can maintain his composure and all of that. Also, the West Bromwich Albion players stole a taxi, so that was hilarious, and so we'll tweet out that story. I don't know what they possibly could have been thinking, so you can read that and check for yourself, but that was hilarious. With that, sorry, one last, not necessarily for or against, just an idea. Yeah, sorry, Austin was just throwing out that if you limited the number of challenge flags for coaches to use, that could possibly be a solution. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the future holds and all of that. So we'll be following that. Christian, do you want to recap our trivia question and we will give our answers?
I'm going to try my best to recap the trivia question, Dave, but I can't make any promises.
Okay.
We had a little bit of trouble earlier. So 137 teams have played in the Champions League. How many of those teams have scored less goals than Ronaldo?
And Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored 117. Okay, out of 137?
Yes.
Okay. Matt, do you want to give your guess?
Going 102.
Okay. I was going to say like 75.
Okay, so my mistake, because he hasn't scored 117 goals. It is 117 of them he has scored more goals than. It is ridiculous. That is absurd. 117 out of 137 teams that have represented in the Champions League, he has scored more goals than.
That's pretty incredible. That was a good trivia question. So, listeners,
that one was presented by John Truman, my roommate, again. By the way,
there you go. John gets another shout out.
Yeah,
there.
I know. Wigan beat Manchester City today.
Oh wow! In the FA Cup.
Yeah.
No more quadruple.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, there goes De Bruyne's Ballon d'Or.
Okay, with that brings us to the end of the podcast for this week. You can check out all of the links to all the stories we discussed here. They'll be in the podcast show notes. We'll also tweet them out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, which is @BT Soccer Pod. If you want to check us out, we have a website, brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. We have information about us. You can check out past episodes and all of that. You can also email us at where is it? There it is. bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Go check out our Bros Talking Soccer YouTube channel. And lastly, we are trying to really grow this podcast. We've been doing it for about 1.5 years now. So if you have any feedback, any things we can do better, any topics you want us to discuss, please don't hesitate to reach out. Again, you can send an email to bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com or tweet at us @BT Soccer Pod. Christian and Matt, thank you for being here. Listeners, thank you for being here. Austin, thank you for sending in that question and for interacting with us live while we've been here. And we'll talk to everybody next week. See you, everyone. All right, cool. All right, guys, thank you. Austin, really appreciate you sending in that question and hanging with us during this time. Hopefully, we got some of your thoughts in there. And yeah, hopefully the podcast, I'll be editing the podcast, should be out within a few hours. And yeah, overall good stuff. Guys, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, De Bruyne didn't start today.
Okay.
Yeah,
that still
what
doesn't
happens.
Can't blame him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
that's
true.
wait,
is
because they can't win without him. That's what I
wait is Will Grigg the guy that had the song about him from Euro? Oh, he scored.
Yeah. Nice. He's on fire.
Yeah, Will Grigg. Oh yeah, that was what it was.
Man City's defense was terrified.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you, everyone. Austin, thanks again, and we'll talk to everybody next week. See you.